YouTube. Hey, yo, what's poppin', YouTube? It's your boy, Chef Zay. You already know what time it is. The CrocPot podcast in full effect. Shout out to all the TikTokers out there, right? Shout out to all my TikTok peeps. But shout out to all you YouTube peeps, right? Because we just hit 1,000 subscribers like a few days ago. Crazy, right? We doing a giveaway tomorrow, right? Make sure y'all tapped in for that. Because we probably going to do another podcast tomorrow. That's what I'm saying tomorrow. Whenever the next podcast is, that's when the giveaway is going to happen. But I appreciate everyone in. We got my boy A.A. Ron. Actually, hold on. It ain't A.A. Ron no more. I'll let him introduce himself. A.A. Ron, take it over, man. What's the new name?
Hey, what's up, everybody? So, I'm kind of starting a little I guess I'm not even gonna say rebrand because I didn't have a brand to begin with, but I'm gonna brand myself as Aaron A. Jacobs. Just my initials, nothing crazy, but my mantra is gonna be something like Stephen A. Smith, but I've accepted the balding already. So I'm working on something like that. But Aaron A. Jacobs on all social media, Twitter, TikTok, maybe TikTok's coming soon. YouTube, everything. So you can
Stephen A., we at your neck. Yeah, Stephen A., we coming for you. First take, it's the last take for y'all, boys, because we coming. We got Aaron J. Jacobs in this thing. Now. Yeah, okay. Anyway, how are you, man? How was your football weekend? How was your actually, let's just get right into it because obviously the hot topic first off is the NFL script that we saw yesterday. What do you think about that? Hello?
You're muted on my end. You're not anymore.
Unbelievable. I said obviously we'll get into this first real quick. We'll touch on what do you think about the crazy fiasco that happened yesterday with the NFL script.
Oh, that's what we're starting with that today.
I just wanted to just get diving. Well, we didn't have to go right into. I just just real quick, some quick thoughts. We can go dive deeper into it later. But obviously, that's the thing. That's the hot topic for the day.
Okay. I mean, listen. There's no part of me that doesn't think when we were coming down to crunch time yesterday, I thought they were gonna make it a tie. But then the more I sat back and thought about it a little bit today, I was like, Big Ben's last season. There's no shot the NFL didn't want to put Ben in the playoffs for his last season, even if he's going to go to Kansas City and just get slaughtered next week. That's just the way I'm thinking.
Do you think that there's some magic left in the NFL? And we've seen this before, bro. The late Ray Lewis and them wasn't supposed to go that far. Next thing you know, Joe Flacco goes 15 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And they win the Super Bowl because it's Peyton Manning comes to Denver, rides off into the sunset. I mean, the NFL likes to see their legends go out on top. I'm not saying that they can go out and win it, but doesn't it just seem like there's going to be some magic left in there?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. If we go from seeing the Big Ben that we saw all season this year straight up to a deep playoff run, like, to me, the difference between that was whenever you see these, like, playoff stories and these, like, crazy, like that Joe Flacco run, for instance, it's usually a team that gets hot towards the end of the season, right? And albeit the Steelers, they won some games at the end of the season, but it wasn't like it was in tremendous fashion. They barely beat a Baltimore team with no Lamar Jackson. It was just some crazy wins here and there. So to me, if we go from seeing the Big Ben that we've seen all season, who's been a turnover machine and looks like that arm is I'm not knocking Big Ben, he's a legend, but I'm just saying the arm looks like you can tell it's not what it used to be, obviously, right, given his age, and he's beat up at this point. I think if we see a Ben go on a run with the Steelers, this is gonna have to be a deep dive into the NFL and what they're cooking up here, you know what I mean, so to speak.
Is Vince McMahon behind the curtains of NFL? That's the real question.
I mean, he might be.
But already in the chat, what's up, Lil Belcher? What up? My boy T Marsh, what's up, baby? Herman, what's happening? Kaden, what's going on? Dan, CJ, what's up? Lil coming in saying Firewoods, hire Flores for defensive coordinator. I know we're getting off subject. We'll let you take it from the top where you want to, but just that comment real quick. No, we're not firing Joe. Okay, wait, back up, rewind. If you can get Flores and he wants to not go get another head coaching job, because I think he probably gets another head coaching job, I guess that would be an upgrade over Joe Woods. But Joe Woods doesn't need to get fired, so I'm not in that camp. Say you?
If it were me, I don't think this is me. I don't think your defense was the problem this year enough to get rid of your defensive coordinator. Flores is a great coach, and I think he's going to get another opportunity. There were a number of openings that came, open today, obviously. So I think he's going to get another opportunity. He should be high on the candidates list, honestly. The way I mean, I'll say it flat out. I know we're going to cover it probably tomorrow, but Miami's crazy for letting him go at this point.
I don't
So
know how you let somebody go who goes 7 straight, 8 straight to end the season.
mhm.
That's just like, oh, thanks for cleaning up the crap. See you on the way out. Your paycheck will be there in a week. Like what?
I mean, listen, I get ragged on for how bad my organization is at times, and listen, the Dolphins are on I think it's like a 23-year playoff hiatus, and I mean, with decisions like that, it's not that difficult to see why. You know what I mean? So
So, but now they're saying that because obviously the rumbles behind that at first was Harbaugh was gonna end up there, but apparently I believe it was the owner or somebody came out and said that they're not gonna go for Harbaugh. So like, what exactly is their angle?
I mean,
I don't know.
if it's not obviously since they got rid of Flores, to me they have to have something else planned. I don't know if it's Harbaugh, but if not, then it's going to have to be like a big name coming in. I heard rumblings today. I don't know if you heard this as well, and maybe this came to me because I'm a Jets fan, but I heard Rex Ryan
Oh
possibly. I
my
don't know how I feel
god,
about that for them, but
why would they
again, I
do
don't know how true
that?
it is. I heard rumblings, but I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. All right, whatever. Anyway, let's get on topic. Cleveland Browns
Okay,
win. They end the season off on a high note. Um, Jarvis Landry had arguably his best game of the season. Um, Dearness Johnson continues to run his way to a check somewhere, whether that be here, somewhere else. The offense kind of still looked the same that it did previously, except it ran a little bit smoother. I don't know if that has anything to do with Case Keenum being at the helm. Stefanski trying to prove a point. There was a bunch of trick plays that I had no clue that was gonna be it's like, bro, we had 17 games to do that. All of a sudden you want to bring that out the last week. So it's just like it was the same thing that I pretty much watched all season, except we won against some backups. Um, I still have my questions. Why are we running Chubb? Like it was weird. We ran Chubb in the beginning, right? And then there was a whole stretch of period where we didn't see him, and then it's like, oh, we're gonna bring him back again. Like, what is the thought process behind that? Because it clearly couldn't have been incentives, right?
I don't think it was incentive based. No, I just think it was maybe just getting them some run again. I don't know. It's tough to really gauge. I know he hurt his ribs last week, so I
Yeah,
don't know if
that's the
that was the
point.
reason for the limited limitations. But
No, that he should have been playing at all. That's what I'm saying. It's just
right,
like there's just so many weird questions, and there was, Stefanski had a press conference today. There was some pretty good questions asked. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they said it was a 25-minute press conference. I don't really want to listen to 25 minutes of that right now. But there was some questions asked about Stefanski and would he consider something like not necessarily asked in a way would he give up play calling, but the conversation about it. And he kind of like hesitated in his answer a little bit. What kind of was like, man, maybe he might, consider letting Van Pelt have a say so in the offense and calling plays, which I wouldn't be against, quite frankly.
I'm sorry. You said you said giving up the play calling potentially.
Yeah, like
That's what you
so
said.
there was a question how it was asked, but it wasn't necessarily saying like he should give up play calling, but there was like has the conversation came about basically about it. And he didn't like deny it. He kind of left the door open on it. And it's almost like maybe I wonder if Barry came down and was like, yo, okay, maybe we should consider changing play calls, or because last he was asked about it earlier in the year, and he shut it down instantly. Straight out came out. Would
Yeah,
you ever consider turning on a play call? And he instantly shut it down.
yeah. I think to me, I mean, I know we touched on this a little bit, but to me, like Stefanski's, for lack of a better term, I mean, he's your head coach, but he was brought over here as an OC. So to me, unless you're doing all the little things right as a head coach and your play calling just is not working on offense, I don't see any other reason to give up play calling. Obviously, the way that your offense looked this year at times, I mean, maybe that's the incentive there to give up the play calling. But like you said yesterday, there were some things for plays, things like that you guys haven't seen all season. And it was like, did he just do those things because there's nothing left to lose? You know, low risk, no reward type of thing because there's just nothing else to do. So open up the playbook, screw it. But if that's the case, I mean, that's a wrong mindset to have. You should be doing those plays to help out your injured quarterback as well. You know, that's just my thought.
He also was asked about the offense and evaluating himself and stuff like that. And he touched on I found it I took it like, okay, he put a really big emphasis on, obviously there's things that we can do on the offense, where in the receiving core, because they talked about how they can complement, how he can do a better job of complementing Baker. And he seemed to put an emphasis on, they are really, like he said it like that, we're really gonna address that this offseason at the receiver position and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, that was a little bone for me to feed off of, because now it's like they're giving us a sense of direction. They're not completely oblivious like we think they are. It's like you clearly see we need receiver help on the offensive side of the ball, and he seemed to put an emphasis on that. So I like to hear that from him.
Yeah, definitely. I have here in my notes that one of the topics that I wanted to, mention at least as like a season recap for you guys as part of what I wanted to say is I think the way the season's gone on, you know, DPJ, Donovan People Jones,
Hmm.
has made his case to be a solid wide receiver two on this team potentially. I think we've all discussed it at this point in his career. Like maybe it's a possibility you bring Jarvis back, but it's looking like probably not based on the cap situation and what's going to happen going into next year. I mean, I would say probably not. I know Browns fans love Jarvis Landry, and I get that, but depends on what type of cap number you're talking about, that type of thing.
The cap is going up. I,
So
I believe Daryl Ryder said we're supposed to have like 208 million in cap next year because of the
no,
cap
what do you
going up.
mean?
Like,
You meant like that's their cap.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, I see what you're saying. That's their max cap. Because from what I checked today, their cap room was like around 32 million, give or take. I don't know
yes.
if that number sounds right to you.
Because they were talking about, that's probably somewhere, right? He was just talking that they're increasing the cap thing, so they're hoping that
Right.
they can find a way to reconstruct this contract.
Sure,
Hopefully.
which would make sense. Because I was gonna say, I thought DPJ made a case to be a solid two on this team. Schwartz, I think you guys really haven't seen enough, but I think his speed and all that
Could
gives him
help
great potential to be a slot receiver. But is he ready to take over that role as of now? I mean, kind of up in the air. Maybe if he has a good preseason
if
this
he put
upcoming
on some
season.
damn weight. He's
He's a
scared to go
rookie.
across the middle.
What is it?
If he put
What is
on
that?
some weight,
Yeah, he's small, but he's fast. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
they can't be
is he
throwing him
either
across the middle.
going to be your four receiver set guy, or is he going to go across the middle and make tough contested catches? I don't know. I mean, I think ideally the Browns need to look at a number one receiver, honestly, in free agency, and then probably drafting one as well. The way that your room is currently set up. I mean, that's where I'm at on it.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that as well too. Um, so where do we swing into next? I want to. Are we gonna talk? Obviously, let's go right into the grades real quick, because obviously it's been a whole disappointing thing. Like, we're going MVP of the team of the Browns. We can do offense and defense if you want, and then we can do I guess comeback player of the year, like the basic awards that all the NFL do.
But you want to do it based on the Browns and how their
Yeah, we
season
can we
went?
can do that first.
Okay. Okay.
So I guess it's so weird because I was thinking about it all today too, and I'm like, I don't. I'm trying to sit here and think about like who would be the MVP of this team. And honestly, I don't know who the MVP of this team is because you would think the obvious answer would be Miles Garrett, but he didn't really. I mean, he had spurts throughout the year where he was elite. And other than that, it was just kind of like I wouldn't say pedestrian, but a little bit above pedestrian. And then you look at Denzel Ward, he didn't really stay healthy all year. Um, Nick Chubb, he was injured throughout the year. Obviously, he could be a strong case, which leads me to just like the obvious one who I think did the best job, and he's not even a player. It's like Andrew Berry is the most valuable player of this team because he seemingly did basically everything right other than sign Austin Hooper. I mean, the Austin Hooper thing was his biggest flaw. And I know that's kind of like cliche for me to not name a player, but it's like if I'm giving out who's the most valuable player, like the only thing that went right on our team this year was our GM, in my opinion. Am I crazy for saying that?
I mean, you're not crazy. I mean, he definitely has made a lot of really solid moves for you guys. That's why, you know, the team. Honestly, when you look at the roster, like every season, preseason and off season, you're looking for like big holes in the team, and obviously, he's done a good job filling a lot of those spots for you. You know, if you look at your defense, honestly, top to bottom, given health and all that, you guys should be a pretty complete team, right? Like you don't like there's needs, but you're not going in with like a need at every other position, essentially, right? So from that aspect, I get it. I mean, I'm gonna state the obvious and say that I think your MVP should be Chubb, even though he spent so much time hurt. Because I think without Chubb on that team,
Yeah,
um, I don't think you guys are even what was the finishing record? 8-9 or whatever it was.
don't
I
remind me.
forget. But I think without Chubb, you're looking at a totally different team, honestly.
Yeah, well,
And
so
I think
he would be the
that's
player,
obviously
yeah,
like the cop out. That's the cop out answer. But
exactly.
Chubb is what makes you guys run, so to speak. But he's that the offense starts with him. If he's doing well, then your offense looks completely different. That's just the bottom line.
I mean, and that's obviously I would go Chubb over Miles too if I had to give the player one. I just think that there's no true MVP, and obviously if we're going most valuable, like we're talking like LeBron, then yeah, I'm going. I mean, dang, that's kind of tough. Like Miles Garrett. Honestly, what would our defense be without Miles Garrett though? Like
Well, I think
he's
I
getting
think
doubled and tripled every play. The
he is.
focus is on him. Like would our secondary be as good? Like so I guess that's kind of a tough question, but I would probably lean towards Chubb. Chubb is the drum to our beat for sure.
Yeah, I think your defense also though the thing is your defense has so many guys that even though it was an up and down season and like you said there were injuries, I think you had other players that played well outside of Garrett. Uh, Garrett garners so much attention because he's such a dominant pass rusher. It's just that he's going to get double teams and all that. I think I hope I don't mess up his name, but I think Anthony Walker had like a crazy season for you guys,
He
even though he
did.
missed some time. He had like a ton of tackles, played really well. Um, I think one of the guys who I want to delve into some of the comments that he brought up today and like ask your opinion on them at some point. I know we'll do that a little bit later, but John Johnson had like kind of an up and down roller coaster type of year for you guys. So I think there were some players on defense that maybe didn't live up to the hype for you guys. I would say, you know, I think between Walker and Garrett as your defensive MVPs, if you were going to lean that way, it would be one of those two guys, honestly. But
Who Walker and Miles? Would you go
yeah,
Walker over Miles for actually we can bring in Daryl now because Daryl's on the call waiting. Daryl, would you give Walker or Miles MVP of the defense whenever he decides to take off mute? Well, while he figures out how to take his thing off, there it is.
No, I'm off mute. Can you hear me?
Yep, we're good.
I got to take Miles, man. How you fellas doing tonight?
what's up,
We're
Daryl?
we're doing great, man. Welcome on in.
Yeah, I got to go Miles, though. I feel like Miles was a more of an impact player than anybody on our squad outside of Denzel Ward.
I was gonna say Denzel was pretty
Um,
impactful.
yeah, he was. He was. But I feel like even though Miles, people get it misconstrued, they don't see the sacks, so they don't think it's production there. When in all actuality, those pressures, the way he affects a play, the way he crashes a line single-handedly is second to who? TJ Watt. So it's more than just the sacks. It's the impact that he has on every single play.
So, which I
Yeah.
think was gonna bring into I was gonna say so, which kind of leads me into we talking about impact. I'm giving an award out to my boy, comeback player of the year for the Browns. Can we take a guess? Who you got? Can we take a guess on who we going on this?
Oh my gosh.
You know where I'm going with this, man.
Oh my gosh.
It's time to get greedy.
I knew it. We've been having this debate about Greedy wins for about
bro. Can you
a year now.
Can you just give my man greed? It's the same thing like you was blowing down on Darius Garland. You gonna get Darius Garland his respect now? Did he earn your respect yet? Because remember Darius Garland, he ain't good enough. Colin ain't good enough. I didn't like him. Remember those conversations we had?
Yeah.
So you giving Darius his respect now?
I do.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. So now we gonna have to transition that to Greedy Williams. You gonna have to give Greedy his respect because every time he gets, those plays when we watch him and we be like, dang man, why can't our defense ever get away with that stuff? I watch Greedy play and there's so many questionable calls where you could be like, man, he low key was pass interference, but he gets away with those calls every single time, and every so often he get that pass interference. Every so often he get a ball called out of him, but you can't very rarely do you see him eating the dust. He's either draped all over him, a crazy play getting over, or he making a pass interference call or a no call at all. So I just want to give Greedy Williams some recognition because that boy came back off these injuries. He could have laid down. He could have wanted asked for a trade. He could have wanted to get up through. Because there's a lot of other talent above him, and he stuck through it, and he produced when we needed him to, and I salute him, and he gets my comeback player of the year. You got to give it to him. And Daryl, he's quiet. He don't want to say nothing. Give him respect, man.
Because man, like listen, Greedy Williams had an overall PFF grade of a 64, bro. What are we doing?
He's not a starter.
I think Greg Newsome was more of an impact. By the numbers he was.
Obviously.
Easy. But, I mean, you talking about... Now, because of the award that you're giving out...
I'm talking about he's a perfect... bro, he's our number 3 corner who can clamp up. We're not talking about him.
Aaron?
We're not talking about him being number 1 or number 2. We got 2 superstars at corner. To have Greedy as a number 3... that caliber of skill with like that's elite in my opinion.
If you're going to give away a comeback player of the year award and you're going to be this dramatic, you got to give it to Jadeveon Clowney. Wow. Jadeveon Clowney came back this year after all the doubt, after all the speculation, after all the injuries, and completely balled out this year, bro. 9 sacks, pressures. I mean, he listen. If you're talking about comeback player on our entire team, you got to give it to Jadeveon because he had to face not only the expectations of what Cleveland was expecting, but what the league wide was expecting. Because remember, we haven't seen him at his top, position in since he's drafted, right? Like, but he showed out this year. Like, you got to give that comeback player of the year on our team to Jadeveon, just based off what he did in his production. It's like ranked 48 out of all 135. You know what I'm saying? Ends in the game.
Well, Aaron, where's your non-biased opinion at?
I was gonna ask what your criteria was for that. Like, did it have to be somebody who was on the Browns last year? Because if it's not,
no, that's something different. That's Dak Prescott or actually Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp really comeback player of the year.
Well, no. What I'm saying is for your Browns criteria, right? I'm saying for your Browns criteria, did your comeback player of the year for the Browns have to be,
Are you saying
did
he's
he
on
have
a
to be on
different
the team
team?
last year? Huh?
Are you saying he's on a different team for your comeback player?
No, no. What I'm asking you is, when you're considering your Browns comeback player of the year, quote unquote, right?
Oh,
Did,
or
did
like,
that person have to be with the Browns last season? Is what I'm asking.
I mean,
Because if it's not, then I'm on the side of Jadeveon Clowney.
Gotta go, Jadeveon.
If it isn't, then I would probably say Greedy. To be
okay.
honest with you, between what you
Dude
both said.
almost put up an 80 piece on PFF this year. Like Jadeveon balled out. You
Yeah,
forget.
he had 9 sacks and he had an impact in every game he played. So I mean,
It's.
there's
I
no,
feel like it's
there's no.
crazy because I feel like no one really gave Jadeveon his recognition until later in the season, if I'm not mistaken. Like, because he didn't do it. He didn't make a lot of noise in the beginning. It was a lot of just like you had to watch it to see the effect that he had on the game. And I feel like a lot of people weren't on that side of the train until later in the year. It's just weird how how quick the tides can change in that.
I feel like nobody gives Jadeveon Clowney his due diligence, and the reason for that is because he's a number 1 overall pick. So
Yep.
I feel like people expect a lot of him. Whereas if you really look at the season from a microcosm, he's the perfect complement to Myles Garrett on the other side. Like, just the things he does, he plays the run really well. Like, if Myles is getting attention, there's other guys that you'd obviously like to have on the other side, but Clowney also can be disruptive, can play the run. I mean, for your team, I hope you guys find a way to bring him back, to
I
be
do
honest
too,
with you.
honestly.
I don't know if he's going to garner another big contract. He did miss a little bit of time this year, so I think it's still kind of a risky. I don't think another team's going to go out and give him crazy money. So I do think that, and he said he likes playing in Cleveland. Am I wrong about
Yeah,
that?
no,
He mentioned that, right?
he's got nothing but great things to say about Cleveland.
Right. So I mean, if he liked it, and you guys are willing to give him another incentive-based contract with sack numbers and all that, I don't see why there's not a reunion there.
It's funny you talk about him being the first overall pick, and I messaged you earlier about it. It's like we got another number 1 overall pick in Baker Mayfield on our team, and I brought the question to you, and it was like, if Baker Mayfield wasn't the number 1 overall pick, would we even be having these conversations? Would we
No.
even be questioning if we should go forward with him, if we should give him another season, if we should pick up his 5th option? Like, I feel like him being the number 1 overall pick has saved his career, because I think if he was our 8th or 9th, 10th pick, we probably would have been canned him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I feel like you would have.
So
So
doesn't
check it
that
out.
say a
Like
lot
the
about
real
so what does that say about Baker?
that he's not that bad of a quarterback. He's just not the guy to take us where we're trying to go in the window that we have. Remember, anytime we've complained about Baker, it wasn't Baker just being trash. Of course, you got some people who will say Baker's trash, right? But the guy who won MVP in Lamar Jackson was only about a couple percentages better than him in every area of the game outside of rushing, right? So, but one thing that Lamar is providing versus what Baker was providing was wins, consistent wins. It didn't matter that it was ugly. Lamar's stats sometimes are horrendous. He throws the ball away just as much as Baker, right? But he's providing the wins. Baker, in the window that we have, isn't the guy to get us where we're trying to go.
He
If Baker wasn't,
can't do what Justin Herbert did. Like, why do we have to watch these games and we see
I know, right?
and we see Joe Burrow, we see Justin
I
Herbert,
know.
we see Kyler Murray, we see all these quarterbacks as much flack as Ben Roethlisberger has gotten this year for as terrible as he look. Do you know how many game-winning drives he has this year?
I don't even know what, like 6?
He
or something
has
like that?
6 game-winning drives
Yeah.
this year.
Mm-hmm.
You can be trash all you want. Are you getting the dub or not? And Big Ben has 6.
Yeah.
6. You know how many Baker got? 0.
None.
0.
Baker had 6 opportunities to go do the same thing Ben did, and he didn't do it not one time, bro. That's the only thing I had. Like, it's just like, if Baker can find a way to pull it out, that's the one thing he needs to figure out. If you're not gonna figure out your touch, if you're not gonna figure out your footwork, if you're not gonna figure out how to get down and scramble, if you're not gonna figure out how to not tackle somebody when you throw an interception, the one thing you better learn how to do, boy, you better learn how to win. You better learn
Yeah.
how to go out there
I
and
mean,
find a way to win, however way possible. Whether that means
it's
if Stefanski called a pass play and you know damn well you should have ran it there, you better kill the play and run it.
Fact.
it's funny. It's funny that it's funny, Daryl, that you brought up Lamar Jackson, because I was actually literally thinking the same thing, and I went to look it up because I was curious, and I was like, the reason the whole thing, and like, so like if we go back to that draft class, right? That draft class: Baker, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Rosen, and that whole draft class, and you look at it, right?
Right.
Obviously, Josh Allen's doing what he's doing in Buffalo, right? He's borderline. I mean, he had 40 touchdowns this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
The reason why Baker is getting so much flack is the exact reason why you guys are saying. If you look at the stats for the season, Lamar Jackson, before he got hurt, was not having a phenomenal season. He had 16 touchdowns and 13 interceptions before he got hurt. But the difference is, at the end of the game, if Lamar Jackson has the ball in his hands, the other team is nervous. Doesn't matter what the stats look like. If Baker has the ball in his hands with the chance to win the game, the other team is not that nervous. I don't mean to say it like that, but it's just the truth.
Because you know what? It's part of it. It's just it's one of his flaws that is also his biggest strength. Baker's one of the most emotional players at quarterback, and that's one of the things you can't be at quarterback. I feel like is emotional. Like when you watch Tom Brady, when you watch Drew Brees, when you watch Matt Ryan, when you watch these quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks, or any of these quarterbacks, like just the good ones, right? They have this like this poise to them, and for some reason, when you look at Baker, I don't know if it's he don't trust in himself. Part of it, I think, is he doesn't trust in the situation because, like as much crap as we're giving Baker for being inconsistent and all of this stuff, all of those losses that we talk about, those comeback victories that he could have had, are not solely on him, right? There's been times where Jarvis Landry fumbled the ball, Austin Hooper dropped the ball on third down, the receiver just drop like stuff that's out of his control. He put the ball where it needed to be. He converted when he needed to convert on fourth downs, right? There's been plenty of times where he converted on fourth downs, but there's also been plenty of times where his receivers didn't bail him out. So that's also the other spectrum that we just seem to get lost in, where it's like we also got to remember that all of those 6 comeback victories was not solely on him. So it's like, is that injury? No, I don't think a fixed shoulder is going to tell Austin Hooper to catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I think that mental, that emotion side to him, it always finds a way to circle back to him. And if he can trigger and if he can figure out a way to harness his emotion, I think that will elevate his play, because we all know he's not a bad quarterback. Like, he's not bad. He's just not great. And he has to work all of those things in his favor.
That being drafted at number 1 overall really kills Baker. If Baker was picked up at the 10 spot, the 12th spot, if Baker was picked up at the 7th spot, it wouldn't be, the scrutiny wouldn't be as bad. So that's the killing part about the whole deal, because it's like, dude, you're a pick number 1, you got to show up, and he doesn't.
Right. I mean, I think it's so frustrating because I think. The reason why I brought up the draft class is because I think when you look at Lamar Jackson, he had a down year this year. Mm-hmm. And what buys him so much time is because he had an MVP season in 2019, right? The season was crazy. He had like 30, 36 touchdowns, some nonsense like that, right? So I think that buys him so much more credibility to say, hey, I deserve the contract. I don't deserve the scrutiny for having a down season this year. Whereas you guys saw Baker Mayfield coming off his second season, not turning the ball over as much. And even though he might not have the physical capabilities of a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, he has the ability to be a winning quarterback. He just might need more around him to do so. And, once this year happened and so many interceptions and the injury. It just, that's the reason why we're talking about Baker and the way we're talking about him today.
Right.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I had to step away for a second. It smelled like I thought my house was burning down.
that's good.
Bro, I'm like, what is this? I'm like, it smells like
It's
there's
the hot takes, eh?
Bro, I
It's
had
hot
to have
take.
been. I'm like, why does it smell like there's a fire in my house right now? I guess it's an incense. Anyway, what's the next? So what we got next? What's the next on the agenda, AA Ron?
So, all right, since I didn't realize we were going to have Daryl on today. So since you guys are more the Browns guys, I wrote down some comments from, I guess, I don't know if it was end of the year presser that John Johnson had for you guys, but he said some interesting things, and I want to see where you guys, as Brown fans, what you think about his comments, because a couple of them caught my eye, and I was like, oh, that's, kind of an interesting topic to talk about. So I'll just kind of spitball them off for you guys, and you guys kind of just tell me what you think, all right?
Let's get it.
So I'm paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing here when I say these things. I don't have the exact quotes in front of me, but I'm going to start with, he mentioned that Odell's exit didn't cause a problem or a divide for the team, and that it's part of the business. Do you think that that's the truth?
No, because I thought he came out earlier and said that didn't someone come out? Was that him or Troy Hill? Someone came out and I thought they said, yeah, okay, I know I'm not tripping. I thought he came out and said that there was some people in the locker room that weren't upset about it. And I got my own opinion on that. And I've already mentioned it before. There was a complete divide. And he also, to that comment that because I think I actually heard part of that interview, he was asked about the divide between the defense and the offense. And how it's like, it kind of reminded me of the Remember the Titans thing, where it's like defense messes with the defense and they don't kind of mess with the offense type of thing, which I thought was kind of weird.
I could paraphrase it for you if you want.
Yeah.
He said, team chemistry was huge. It was tough with COVID, but it was like the offense worried about the offense and the defense worried about the defense. We need to do much better to be a good team. You
know what that tells me?
What's that?
That tells me that the defense had zero confidence in the offense, whether that be Stefanski, Baker, or whatever. But they had zero confidence. That's what that screams to me.
Bro, you seen that when he sat at home with COVID and tweeted, "Run the ball."
he mentioned that too. He said he think people looked into it. They said, did he have a talk with the coach, or did the coach have a talk with him? And he said he did have a talk with him. He was jokingly saying it, but they did talk about it, and he was looking at it from a fan perspective. And the only thing that he saw was Nick Chubb had 6 carries, and he said 6 for 80. So yeah, of course I'm gonna say run the ball.
Bro, come on, we know what that is. That's him being critical of his coach, and he did it publicly, which tells me that he has more respect for Joe Woods than he does for Kevin Stefanski, strictly based off of the offense versus the defense. That's why his comment today was totally bogus. Like, we seen you barefaced it, exposing yourself and your emotions and your feelings towards your offensive minded coach, if you will. He's the head coach, but he wants to run the offense. He wants to call the plays, and you were critical of him publicly. So you can't come out today and say what Aaron said that he said. But like, dude, we know the truth. You told us the truth when you sat at home and you were critical publicly.
So maybe do you think the players support Baker?
Or here's before you continue, Zay, I want to finish up the last quote because it directly involves Baker. Okay. The last quote from Johnson that caught my eye. When he was asked about if the team had confidence in Baker, he said, "We have confidence in Baker. There were times that this offense was electric this year. It was just inconsistent, and we need to do a better job of keeping our guys healthy."
So they're blaming it on. It
so
sounds
to me,
like they said we ride with them.
The Browns fans, but to me, when you're saying that again, he's directly saying you guys are not doing a good enough job keeping our quarterback healthy enough to be productive on the field.
So that's funny that we're talking about this because I caught this at the end of the Bull and Fox show. Apparently last year we ran out of this our scientific health expert. We were number 1 in the league for having the least amount of soft tissue injuries, meaning hamstrings, stuff like that. We ran that guy out of town, and apparently now we are the worst in the league when it comes
Yes, we
to
are.
soft tissue injuries.
Yep. Bro, we had
Those-
6 healthy guys the entire season.
right.
Everyone else was injured at some point.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right. These are the little things that a lot of people don't talk about that make such a huge impact on a team. And the reason why I bring that up is because, again, I don't have this one written down in front of me, but one of the things he said, Johnson was like, oh, I suggest us doing more things like yoga. And that's like, whatever. Okay. He's making a suggestion to do more yoga to avoid soft tissue injuries. Okay. That's cool. But one of the things that teams don't talk about is how important guys like that are to make sure that you don't have long-lasting injuries on a team the entire season. And to your point, if you let that guy walk out the door,
No, they didn't let him walk out. They ran him out the door. They said that they ran him out.
That's a problem.
That is a problem.
A big problem. Because I could tell you from my perspective as a Jets fan, we booted our medical staff last year and brought in all new people this year, and we still had half of our roster injured. So whatever we're doing just isn't working. So
Right.
to me, if you had a guy like that and you guys had the least amount of injuries in the league, and then you chase that guy out of town, you need to go chase him back into town.
He's apparently he's working with the Cubs now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And what was I about to say? You had said I don't even remember what I was about to say. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, he works for the Cubs now. So that guy's gone. That's just crazy to me, man. It's like, but that's another thing with this organization, man. It's like, for once in our time, usually it's like we always knew what was going on with the Browns because somehow, some way, stuff would get leaked. Nothing's getting leaked anymore, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, all of these things, all of these rumors that we're hearing, all of these Deshaun Watson rumors are starting to spice up. Man, quite frankly, I don't know if I believe it. Because that's not in our moxie right now. Our GM has done, our team for the past 2 years, I'm just talking about the past 2 years, have done, well, since Dorsey came here, since Dorsey came in, they have done a phenomenal job keeping everything in-house. And that's why I think when I keep saying they're playing chess and we're playing checkers, we keep wanting to see the easy move. We keep wanting to get that king me, when in reality, they are setting up all of these things for... They know exactly what they're doing behind closed doors. We just don't see it, I think. And that I truly stand behind that, and I truly believe that. I got faith in Barry, bro. I just think he's on a different scale right now. And I don't think us fans are on that level, really. Like, majority of the fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on that level. They got to get me in the office, but, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, man.
Hey, Ron's interacting with chat. Browns GM might be worse than the Broncos. Stop it, Bart. Stop it. Don't come in here with those blasphemy takes.
The furthest thing from the truth.
So Zay, before I know we're kind of at the point where we're wrapping up the Browns talk here, and I know you mentioned Watson. Do I throw out that Watson scenario I was texting you about earlier and kind of see what Daryl in the chat have to say about it?
Everyone's gonna say the same thing I did, but run it.
All right, fair enough. So Daryl, I was reading an article earlier. It wasn't by a Browns media member, anything like that. It was just an article from. I'll be honest with you. The source I read it on was Bleacher Report, but it cited a source from Sports Illustrated, right?
Okay.
And they said that they believe that the number one player for Deshaun Watson this offseason wasn't going to be Pittsburgh. It was going to end up being the Browns. And this is the mock trade that they put up in the article. They said Baker plus your 2022 first, your 2022 second, your 2023 first for Watson. Do you do that trade? So 2 firsts, Baker, and a second.
What are you thinking about?
I don't think so.
What? You don't think so?
I don't think so.
You're drunk.
I'm gonna tell you why.
You're drunk.
I don't like the fact that I haven't heard anything about these allegations.
Man,
Bro, we have went
forget the
through an entire
allegation.
NFL
Bro,
season, and I
forget the
still have
allegation.
yet to hear.
Exactly.
Normally,
exactly.
Huh?
That's the point. We haven't heard nothing about these allegations. Why? Because he hasn't been playing. He hasn't came out and said he still wants to be traded. The only reason why these allegations came out in the first place is because he wanted to be out of Houston. Big Money said, no, no, no. You not about to get out here scot-free like that. So we gonna let's just say the allegations are out. You're not doing that trade.
Oh, allegations away? I'm doing that trade with my eyes closed.
I'm doing that trade,
especially because I don't have any major needs. Like, of course, I can fill a couple holes. Come on now, no team is perfect, right? So of course, I could, I want my first, I want my second, and I want my first to do, because Andrew Berry hasn't missed on any of his picks, but one maybe. I mean, how many picks have Barry really missed on? So, Barry with any pick is good, right? So I'm not really, saying like, oh, well, I got the picks. And the picks might not turn into. No, Barry makes sure the picks turn into something. He's proven that.
All right, well, let's throw this scenario out here because this could be a possibility. This may be a realistic possibility. Let's say allegations settle. He has to sit out 1 year. He has to sit out 1 year. Are you giving up that package knowing that you have to give up the 1 year? Because I think that would be the real question. Something's going to have to come from it.
Yeah,
and if you know he's going to be out, let's just say 1 year max, potentially can get 8 years out.
Listen,
are we doing that package?
I'm just throwing out what I read. That's all I'm saying. My point was I wanted to see from your guys' perspective as Brown fans what number is too high of a risk versus reward. Now, to Zay's point, to me, if this is the scenario and Watson can play next season, this trade is a no-brainer. There's no doubt about it. You're making the trade all day, every day. Yeah. Now, legal ramifications still in play. I think my question was more so for you guys as to when does it become too much of a number to give up for Watson? Because to me, people were originally saying it was going to take 3 firsts and players and a multitude of other picks scattered in there. So, like, if you threw another first in there, so 2022, 2023, and 2024, and a second, is that number too high?
No. when you're getting a top 5 quarterback, bro, no number is too high, especially with this offense. You want Kareem Hunt too? I mean, like, because
whoa.
No, listen, because I get at that point we get Dearness Johnson for cheaper. Kareem about to go get paid. He's either getting a contract with us or he going somewhere else and getting paid.
True.
So we can pay our homegrown Dearness, which you already know you getting. So I mean, obviously they threw that scenario out there. Like, what did you throw in Kareem Hunt with that trade? Or somebody made a dumb proposal. It was like Denzel Ward, Kareem Hunt, and a first and Baker or something like that for Deshaun Watson.
Come on now. I mean, look, in reality, the reality is Baker, 2 firsts and a second is doable. It's not too expensive as long as he doesn't have to sit a year. Because, oh, my God, even though I have him through, 2025, 24? I don't know. With his contract, I think it was like 2025, right? It's like a 4-year deal. Whatever the case is. If he has to sit out a year, that means only have 2 years.
Okay, so here, throw this out there. Let's go even further down the rabbit hole. Let's say you make the trade. Deshaun Watson has to sit out. We're still playing hypothetical. Let's say
8 games. Let's go 8.
Let's say the whole year, because I'm about to throw this out here. You sign Mitchell Trubisky for very cheap.
Oh my God.
So Mitchell Trubisky's running it as your 1, right? Knowing you just got to get through this year to Deshaun Watson next year. Would you do it then? If you knew you had a guy like, let's just say Matt Ryan's gone, Derek Carr stayed, all the other quarterbacks are off the, you know what I'm saying? We ended up getting Deshaun.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be fine with Mitchell Trubisky as your placeholder? I think that, like, is that a doable enough job to keep that window open?
No, yeah, for sure. I mean,
he won games, right?
It'll boat us over. I'll be okay with that. I mean, I'm okay with the whole scenario altogether. It's just the allegations that scare me. But I'll take Watson in a heartbeat. I mean, come on now. I was vouching for Watson regardless of the allegations. It's just a matter of, in reality, we can't hinder our team. And like I said,
Right.
we're working with a window. We have a 3-year window here, guys. We got
Oh,
Miles. In a minute, he's going to start requesting trades. You know how these stars do.
see that's what I was gonna say. And if you look, there's gonna be Browns fans, and I'm looking at Eli in the chat that are gonna say
Nope.
that becomes not worth it at that point because you're giving up so much to get him that you're not revamping roster on your talent. It's not like if you guys bring in Deshaun Watson next year and don't get listen, if you get Deshaun Watson, he can play next year. Whoever it is going to take less money to come play with him. Whether that's Allen Robinson, somebody is going to take less money to come here and play with him. That's the type of draw he is. But if you start talking scenario where you guys get him and he has to sit a season, you're not enticing anybody to come here, and you're essentially wasting a year waiting for Watson while the Bengals get better.
I don't want to
They're
talk
only
about the Bengals.
projecting up from this point on.
They're going to be the best team in the North. Bro, they got Joe Burrow.
You know, it's a and just for reference, I'm just gonna say we don't have to talk about all these, but I'll also we don't have to talk about these if you don't want to, but I'll also let you guys know the other trades that this article that I read put into place, just so this way you're aware of what we're working with here as far as scenarios go.
I mean, this
article also said the Pittsburgh Steelers trading a 4th-round pick for Gardner Minshew. Just saying. They also said Washington giving up a 1st-round pick to get Christian McCaffrey. They also said Philadelphia giving up a 1st-round pick to get Calvin Ridley. And then they also said Broncos giving up a 1st and a 7th to get Kirk Cousins.
A 1st and a 2nd?
A 1st and a 7th to get
damn.
Kirk Cousins.
I mean, shit. Denver was damn near on the playoffs with Teddy Bridgewater.
So, I'm just saying. I mean, the title of the article is "Realistic NFL Trades That Could Happen," and not for nothing. Given all those scenarios that all those teams are currently in, Pittsburgh's going to need a quarterback next year. The Broncos are going to, and the Vikings look like they're kind of resetting because they fired their GM and coach. Deshaun Watson, that's got to wrap itself up at some point in time. I don't know when, but it has to. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to come to a head, and he's got to go somewhere. He's not playing for the Texans again, so he's got to go somewhere. McCaffrey, I don't know, because, like, I don't really think, like, I mean, he makes a lot of money to not play a lot of football. So, do I think somebody could trade for him? Yeah, I don't know if I could see it being Washington. That's
Tampa?
where I'm at with that.
Imagine,
I mean, if it's going to happen, we'll be the team to make it happen.
Imagine Tampa goes and gets Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If he plays, he's obviously one of the best backs. It's him or, Henry or Chubb as best backs in football.
Chubb has 100 less carries than the top 3 rushers in the league, and he's still 2nd in the league. Put some respect on my man Chubb.
I left out Jonathan Taylor too. I can't.
Put some respect on my man Nicholas Jamal Chubb. Okay, 100 less carries.
He's the oil that makes your team run, my friend. I just said that.
And you know what's crazy? Joe Bitonio came out in an interview to say he said, it's sad to say, he's like, as much as we would like to get Chubb, those 30 carries, that's just not in our offense. And I love getting those little bones, because it's like, okay, if my star guard's coming out saying that don't expect Chubb getting these carries, we need to take our expectations, but it's not the offense. Clearly, it's not the offense, because he came out and specifically said he's not going to be able to get it, because whether that be Kareem Hunt getting 10 carries, De'Aaron is spreading around, it's just not in their offense. And I don't get why it's not in their offense, but at least I know it's not their offense to go and get Chubb 30 carries a game.
Right.
Which is sad.
I mean, you also don't want to exhaust them, but to that extent, Tennessee's doing that with Derrick Henry every week.
And he's getting 2,000-yard rushing seasons. Go exhaust my man. Let him go get 2,000.
There's no reason that Chubb, the way he's built, couldn't handle that kind of workload.
You don't think Chubb can handle 30 carries a game? Stop it, bro.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. 100% he could. I just don't know if that's the reason why, or if they didn't want to do that this year because he had injury issues early, things like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But did he have COVID this year at some point? Am I wrong on that?
He had What was it? A knee injury or he had something? He had an injury. He might have had COVID.
He was
No,
hurt.
he was hurt.
He was hurt for a while, and he missed games. I just can't remember the injuries.
I don't remember the injury either. You know, I mix up his injuries with just Kevin Stefanski not being able to use him. It's kind of all of a blur.
Man, it's frustrating.
All right. I mean, at this point, I mean, have we done enough Browns recap?
Yeah, let's.
Are you on to 2022 at this point?
I don't want to talk about. Look, if you guys want to know about what I think about Baker, there's 3 other episodes. We talk about Baker a lot in those. We already know what Baker is, right? We know we don't know what the offseason brings, but we know it's going to be a crazy offseason. So once things start to rumble, once noise starts to go, it's day 1 in the offseason, guys. We already know what the questions you're asking me, we already know, guys, all right? So let's just move on from that. Let's look forward to see what we're going to get in the draft. Let's look forward to see how we can make this team better. Let's watch the tape. Looking at us. Like Hugh Jackson says, let's watch the tape and let's swing it to the next topic.
Man, that's all Hugh had to say the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then I feel like we obviously have a bunch of other topics, but I feel like we're going to save a couple of them for tomorrow. So I feel like let's kind of cap the show off by talking about our end of season award winners and who we think should win. How do you want to format? Do you want to go who we think should win or who do we think is going to win? How do you want to kind of discuss it?
I mean, I kind of go both in hand, I guess, right?
Okay, all right, that's fair. All right, so I guess let's start at. Do you want to start at the very top, work our way down, or do you want to just go by? We kind of work our way up to MVP. What do you think?
I mean, I think MVP is kind of like foregone. Like everyone's kind of unanimous that it's A-Rod, right?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't gonna say that.
I wasn't either.
Oh, well, hey, jeez.
All right, so I mean, you brought it up, so let's just start. So, Zay, MVP for you is Rodgers. Any specifics you want to throw out there as to why?
I mean,
just out of curiosity.
I think another guy playing chess while we're playing. This man went through a dysfunctional offseason, right? Rumors swirling, expectation not to be 12 and whatever they are, 13 and 2 or whatever, 13 and 3, 4, whatever they are. And I mean, he's just putting on. I mean, come on, man. It's A-Rod. What's understood don't really got to be explained with this man. He's doing something ridiculous with the noise and the chatter. Like I just think that's impressive in itself. And if they go on to win the Super Bowl, I mean, you take Aaron Rodgers off this team, they're probably not 13 and F and 3. So I don't really need to get too deep into that. But you know, Aaron Rodgers is an obvious choice for me. I mean, same reason everybody would have him.
Fair. That's fair. Daryl, what do you think of MVP this season?
I mean, the way the league is set up, you know, you're gonna go pass first. You know, QB. That's how the team goes, how the quarterback goes. But me personally, if I'm being 100% fair, I'm giving it to Cooper Kupp.
Wow.
I feel like Cooper Kupp has been absolutely ridiculous. 145 catches, almost 2,000 yards, bro. 16 touchdowns. The dude has just been ridiculous. Like, I don't understand. I mean, he's a Triple Crown Award winner this year. Like, dude has done something this year that, now granted, some people are going to argue, well, he had an extra game, blah, blah, blah. Bro, at the end of the day, he still had to perform. And I know his quarterback is Kupp or nothing. At the end of the day, he still has to perform. And I feel like Cooper Kupp has done that.
Wow, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little surprised. The only reason, not because Cooper Kupp, he's obviously, I mean, the numbers this year were crazy, like off the charts crazy. Right. So, I mean, it's hard for me to argue, but I just think, like you said, it's such a quarterback-driven league that's usually just where the MVP award ends up, so to speak. So, I mean, for me, it really pains me to do this, but to me, the MVP is Tom Brady. It is. I hate to say it, but 5,000 passing yards nearly this season. 5,000 passing yards.
How old is he? 49?
40. He's 82
Somebody's
years
grandfather.
old. He's throwing 50 touchdown passes at the age of 52 years old. You know what I mean? Like, he had 5,000 passing yards, 40 touchdowns, and 5 game-winning drives this season. You can't tell me that if you took Tom Brady off the Bucs, they're barely a playoff team this year. Not to mention they lost like nearly all their defensive starters this year at one point due to either COVID or injury, and they're still the second seed in the NFC. So to me, it's Brady.
Is Tom Brady's whole career like they had that discussion? If you broke it down into 4 quarters, are each 4 of his quarters first ballot Hall of Famers? I mean, his first 4 years in the league, 2 Super Bowls. The next 4 after that, another 2 Super. Like he has a Super Bowl in every quarter. Like is he a first ballot in every year if he retired? Like, could you take a season and be like, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, listen, if Eli Manning is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, Tom Brady is 4 times over a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, you know what I mean? There's no doubt about it. It pains me to say as a Jets fan that he's the greatest player of all time, but it's just the truth.
Would you give?
And I'm watching him do it in his mid to late 40s. Still, just 2 weeks ago, I had to watch him, a touchdown drive to beat my Jets for the 80th time. He's going to be doing it from his wheelchair and his walker at this point. You know what I mean? Like
You know who really the MVP, low key? You know what? I think I want to take it back. You know who really is the MVP?
Who?
What are you doing?
It really is Joe Burrow.
Stop. I
listen,
knew you were going to say
we're
that.
really talking about a team that had zero expectation. He's coming off of an ACL injury, right? They ripped the whole organization and they prayed that Joe Burrow was going to survive the season. He's been sacked. I think he's top 5 in the league at getting sacked, mostly getting sacked. He's got 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 108 passer rating, and he took the team that was literally supposed to be 4-win team to the AFC North Championship, and he made a receiver better than he blew Justin Jefferson's record out the water.
Okay, if that's the case, if you're going off of that, and this is going to be fun. If you're going off of that, just what you named, then you're basically saying Derek Carr is an MVP candidate as well.
Oh my God, what are we doing?
Well, the eye test doesn't. The eye test
Derek
doesn't
Carr was
show
better
that though.
than Joe Burrow.
No.
He lost his head coach. He lost his GM.
His story's better. His story's better for sure. But no, his season was not better
too.
Man, no. Wait. I mean, that's a debatable argument, but no, you can give him. He could be in there, but no. His
stats aren't. I mean, yeah, he threw what?
What is Derek Carr's stats? Let me pull it up, man. Hold up. We're gonna look.
Joe Burrow threw 10 more touchdowns than Derek Carr.
That's a lot.
About the same amount. Derek Carr threw more yards.
Derek Carr has 4,800 yards.
This is why you can't come out and say
Derek
Joe
Carr
Burrow.
He
had about the same.
It's literally
PDR
less than 200. It's
Tom Brady outshined both of those cats.
His QBR
at the age of 44.
He's thrown 14 interceptions.
Tom threw more yards. Threw for more yards. He threw for more TDs. Way less interceptions.
And he's also the defending champ.
Than both of them.
He's also the defending champ.
So if Joe Burrow is on the level of Derek Carr stat wise and what he did for his team wise, it just goes to show you and validate
I'm
even
sorry,
more
did his team win
I'm sorry,
did his
how
team
great
win?
Aaron Rodgers was.
Did his team win the division?
Aaron Rodgers threw for 37 touchdowns.
Did his team win the division? Did his team win the division?
What the like?
Did his team win the division?
Crazy.
That's insane.
Look, we're talking about Derek Carr.
Baker threw 4 interceptions in a game.
Oh, I'm sitting here. Look, my mic on mute the whole time. I'm sitting here. Did his team win the division though?
Oh, here we go. He made it to the playoffs.
Did Derek Carr's team win the division? I don't think so. Did Derek Carr's team have expectations to be the worst team in the division and arguably the worst team in the league? No.
Do you think they're getting an extra check because they're at the top versus the bottom? No, as long as you're in. And they are in the dance.
Look, all I'm talking about is obviously if you take Derek Carr off the Raiders, they're dog, but no one in a million years saw Cincinnati winning the North. No one saw it coming, and I just think that is just. I mean, we really want to talk about MVP. That's MVP stat. Like that's just GOAT status right there. He literally took a team from the bottom to the top, like Drake said. He was literally at the bottom.
I hear exactly where you're coming from. I just had to, I had to do what I do, right? So I had to, I had to create that argument. But my whole point is this: it goes to show you that Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers were just on a whole nother stratosphere because Derek Carr
Other goats.
and Derek Carr and Joe Burrow, they did what they were supposed to do, and they did something that nobody's seen. Like two teams who no one's seen that coming. Come on, bro. Nobody had them in the
No, the
books.
Raiders had expectations to be good. The Bengals literally had no one anywhere had the Bengals being good at all. More than 4 wins.
After the John Gruden debacle, nobody's
We're
saying
talking
the Raiders going to.
no, but we talking about preseason before the season started. Before all of this started, there were expectations for the Bengals to be garbage.
His starting wide receiver. He lost
That
back.
was during the season. I'm talking about all of this is before the season. The Raiders had expectations to be good. They started out 5-1 or something crazy. Like we not gonna sit here and act like they didn't come out and have expectations. The Bengals had zero expectations. They were supposed to be the laughing stock of the league. They were supposed to be a 4-win team, and here they are at the top of the division. Why? Because of Joe Burrow.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and debate both of you on both of those teams, the Raiders or the Bengals, because they both have phenomenal seasons. But all I'm going to say is, if you were to supplement Rodgers or Brady into either one of those situations, maybe they don't perform. They to me, they still make those teams playoff caliber teams. So to me, that's why this MVP discussion comes down to those two at the end of the day. Just because of how, and obviously the league is catered towards giving the award to quarterbacks. So, I just think those two are just so far ahead of all these other. I mean, listen, Joe Burrow's getting up there, bro. He's gonna be tearing the league up for years to come. There's no doubt about it.
We're gonna get our tails whooped by him for 18
No,
years. 18 years.
We have his number. He can tear up the rest of the North, but we got the Bengals number.
Let's move on to your offensive player of the year, even though I kind of think based on that first discussion where the two of you will probably go. We'll start with Zay. Offensive player of the year for you this year.
Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
No, that was simple and easy.
Simple and easy.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Daryl, I'd assume that you'd say Cooper Kupp based on your MVP.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because he's not going to get the MVP based on how the league runs it. So
yeah,
at least bless the man with the offensive. I mean, golly,
yeah,
can he have some? Yeah, so Cooper Kupp for sure.
Okay, I mean, I'm gonna sit here and say that I'm gonna be the tiebreaker, so to speak, in this case, and I'm gonna also say Jonathan Taylor. And the reason why is because, 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns,
ridiculous.
And without Jonathan Taylor,
the Colts are garbage.
The Colts are the Jets.
Jameson, breaking news: Jameson Williams just tore his ACL from Alabama.
Oh, he's the receiver. The top wide receiver. That's going to hurt his draft stock. He's going to fall big time. That means he's out for at least half of next season.
You know what that means? You know what that means, right? That's a guaranteed lock for the Browns.
He's going to slip to the second or third round.
Exactly.
Injury.
Exactly.
100%.
Analytics. That's beautiful for the analytics department. Terrible for him. He loses out on millions of dollars.
Terrible for him.
But that plays right into the analytics of the Browns. If he falls, you think the Browns aren't going to take him?
Oh, he's going to end up being a crazy pick for somebody in the second or third round easily.
Now the Browns have something to play with. Let's wait till the second to get our receiver and do something with this first pick.
What you do is you still go get Olave or somebody in the first, and then you double back and you get another one.
Double down. Double down. 100% double down.
They made a good point on that. They talked about all the capital that the AFC North put into these stocks and receivers. Deontay Johnson, Bashar Bateman. They brought in Watkins, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Like all of these AFC teams spent draft picks on receivers, and the Browns are the only team yet to do that. So I expect they need to follow suit, realizing that if they want to be a pass-happy offense, you can't hurt yourself by going Sherlock receiver one, and then, hey, I don't think the fans are going to be mad if you get another decent gamble on another receiver, so I'd be down with it.
I'll be down with it, unless we have a quarterback. No, I'm just kidding. Come on, Baker, get healthy.
All right, let's slide down to defensive player of the year, because I don't know. I don't really know if there's much debate here, but I'm curious to see, because I know you Browns fans are in here, so we'll see if the bias kicks in. Zay, defensive player of the year.
Let me just double check something real quick. Because I don't want to say Watt, because why would I want to say Watt? But like that
There's that Browns bias.
that one boy down there in Dallas though, that boy Micah Parsons,
Micah.
12 sacks. He got a trillion billion. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look. What does he got? He got 46 pressures, landing 8th among all defenders. He's got his sack rate is 5.2%, which is second highest in the NFL. 12 sacks in 13 games played. And I just, like, I don't know. You're a rookie. Like, that's big stuff, man. Like, if TJ Watt doesn't have the sack record, or does he get it over me? Does he get it over Parsons? That's the real question, in my opinion, right? Because that's probably the only reason why everybody's unanimous in TJ Watt.
Yes, because the only two things that kept Ben's noodle arm alive and into the playoffs this whole time was TJ Watt sacking the quarterback and Minkah Fitzpatrick making plays.
Facts.
So outside of that, the Steelers, I mean, listen, they're not, I'm not saying they're a bad team, but those two basically carried this defense to what they were this season, without a doubt. That's why it's TJ Watt. He tied the sack record, excuse me. And then I'm not trying to hate on the Steelers here, because I'm not really a Pittsburgh Steelers hater, so to speak. But they also, I saw that they were like begging the NFL to double check one of the tackles he made during the game to give him the sack record, and I was like, oh, only the Steelers would be so obnoxious to do that. But you know, I mean, you tied the sack record. He did it in less games too. So to me, if he would have played a full season and didn't miss the 2 games, he probably would have broke it by like 2 or 3 sacks.
So are you guys trying to force me to say TJ Watt?
Like, I'm just telling you what I think. Daryl,
I'm saying TJ Garrett.
You're saying TJ Garrett.
TJ Garrett.
Crap. Yeah, TJ Watt.
How does Myles Garrett go from neck and neck right there to just completely just saying, yeah, forget it. We're not going to get any more sacks the rest of the year. Like, what? Like, come on, man.
Unbelievable.
All right, whatever.
Listen,
we'll give it to
for what it's worth, I'll give you this. Micah Parsons he's another guy that's going to be tearing up the league for years to come. I've watched a couple of Cowboys games this year, unfortunately, and he's a hell of he's all over the field. I mean, there's no, he's a great player. He's only going to get better too. He's like 23 years old. So,
yeah.
All right, these next two to me could be kind of debatable. So I'm interested to see what you guys would have to say. Coach of the year. Start off with Zay.
Yeah. Whoo.
Coach of the year.
So me?
I mean, me? You can go first if you want.
Okay, for sure. It's for me automatically. It's down to like 3 guys. It's Belichick, Vrabel, and Taylor, right? Belichick, because what he did with that New England team, it worked with he's the GOAT. Vrabel, what he did with the Tennessee team is ridiculous. And then Zach Taylor and the Cincinnati team. So I'm going to give it to Vrabel. When you lose Derrick Henry and you still find a way to perform the way the team performed, you gotta respect this guy, right? Like,
yeah.
Once Derrick went down, once Julio went down, once AJ Brown went down, like that team was supposed to crumble, and somehow, some way, he figured out a way to get his team together and perform. Like Mike, I mean, you got to give. I mean,
Yeah, I think
just
it probably is Mike.
Mike.
Low-key.
Yeah,
I'd probably go Mike too. You said it word for word. Like that's when you lose your top guys, not only Derrick Henry, but AJ Brown as well.
man.
Like I mean, you're not supposed to be the number 1 seed, let alone you're supposed to be fighting for a playoff spot, and that's what you call great coaching, not good coaching. That's what you call great coaching, to find a way to keep those guys bought in, to keep those guys to believe that they can win and be the best. And they found a way to do it, especially when they even went through a little stretch where they were playing bad ball and they turned it around.
Yeah.
So their defense was looking very, very frail, and they're a defensive team and they turned it around. So as much as I would like to not give it to Zach Taylor because they're in our division and what he did, like obviously he would probably be my second, but you got to go Mike Vrabel, 100%.
So I also have the same 3. It was between Belichick, which again I'd rather headbutt a brick wall than give it to Belichick. Vrabel and Zach Taylor. It's definitely between those 3. To me, I looked at Zach Taylor and I kind of thought that was my one. Just full disclosure. Vrabel, obviously, everything you guys said. This team had so many injuries this year. Henry, AJ Brown, Julio. They lost a bunch of people, and to me, I give Vrabel a lot of credit for that, but I also think it helps that you play in a division with the Jaguars and the Colts, who just shot themselves in the foot continuously all year. And I think that also, but they still were the number 1 seed, so there's something to be said there. But I'm going to make a case for Taylor because you're coming off of a season where you lost your quarterback last year because the offensive line was horrific, and everybody going into the season, including myself, doubted them because I said you took Jamar Chase instead of taking a premier tackle to protect your investment at quarterback. And I mean, that whole organization made me put my foot in my mouth because of how they played this year. So to me, coaching goes a long way in that aspect. And you're going to go from 4-11 and losing your quarterback to 10-7 and 10-7 and winning the division. That's, I mean, let's face facts. AFC North's been one of the toughest divisions of football for a long time. You're going to come back from 4-11 and win that division this year. That's my case for Zach Taylor to win. So
I'm not mad at that.
I'm not either. I just, I just wish we had Joe Burrow.
So, speaking of that man, comeback player of the year. I'm going to assume you're both unanimous on this. I'm going to assume.
Yeah. I forgot he was injured, but he didn't miss. But how much time did he miss last year?
He missed the majority of the season.
Dang. Okay. Well,
so he qualifies for comeback player of the year.
I mean,
I think low key Cooper Kupp though. Like, I think he cleans up awards, bro. He came out. He's coming off a torn ACL too, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that actually.
Isn't he? Isn't he coming off a torn ACL?
I'm not 100% certain.
Hold on, I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, I'm not.
ACL surgery. Cooper Kupp suffered ACL injury on November. Oh, that was a couple years ago. Okay, that was
I think that was a couple years ago. I don't think that he's.
Yeah,
I
didn't know.
So no, that's not Cooper Kupp. My bad. I thought that seemed recent for some reason. I think that might have been the year he was on my fantasy team, actually, and that's just
possibility.
That's probably.
I'm not mad at it.
I mean, to me, I debated back and forth on this one literally most of the day today. I like literally had to sit and think about it, because the obvious answer is Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. If you look at the numbers side by side, Dak Prescott had as good of a season as Joe Burrow did. So it's going to be really hard. I mean, like, I'm not kidding. Like, Zay, I have the numbers in front of me. They both put the records aside. The records were almost the same. I think the Cowboys won one more game. But completion percentage is Joe Burrow 70.4 to Dak Prescott 68.8. It's right there.
Right there.
passing yards. Burrow 4,611. Prescott 4,449.
I want a
TD
quarterback so bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
TD passes. Prescott 37. Burrow 34.
Yeah, Dak
Picks.
Prescott's gonna win
Prescott
it, right?
10. Prescott 10. Burrow 14. I mean, here's the thing. Because of how the NFL works, to me, Dak Prescott's going to win the award because the Cowboys are America's trash can team. But but I personally think the way that they both performed this year. Listen, the one thing I will say, Dak Prescott also had 14 fumbles this year. So I'm going to put that out there. So for as good as he was, he had 14 fumbles. All the rest of the numbers are comparable across the board down to quarterback rating between him and Burrow. I'd give it to Burrow at the end of the day. But I think Prescott will take it. So
yeah, I'm not mad at that either.
I mean, I can't keep giving Joe Burr this praise. I'm going Dak.
Oh.
Why do I love Joe Burrow so much?
Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
that's my dog.
Joe Burrow. I mean, honestly, I see Will in the chat. I mean, Dak, literally that ankle was the opposite direction. It didn't look like a human body part. So, I mean, to come back off that injury and to play like this, I mean, you have to give Dak some credit there as much as I don't want to, just because
I mean, he did it fast, too.
He did. He came back really fast, and he, had a great season. The Cowboys are in the playoffs. I mean, again, the NFC East is trash. We won't get into that. But but I still have to give Dak his due diligence, and I think it's going to come down to him or Burrow, and I think Dak will get it. So, I think the last two awards are honestly probably, I think they're going to be unanimous. But offensive rookie of the year, any debate?
No, that one boy that Joe Burr be throwing to.
Yeah, the guy that be chasing stuff.
It's that Jamar Chase fellow.
That one guy that broke Chad Johnson's record.
One who broke Ocho Cinco's Bengals record in his rookie season.
Ridiculous.
Why is he so
good? Having this conversation, I really want a quarterback and a wide receiver. This is kind of ridiculous. Like, I'll
just take the quarterback, honestly.
Whoop our tail for the next 16 years. This is
Joe
ridiculous.
Burr has never beat us, though. He ain't beat Baker.
Jesus.
Yo, Will in chat. I think what you have to understand is everybody in this conversation right now is probably somewhat of a Joe Burrow fan, even though they don't. It's hard not to root for Joe Burrow.
He really is. And he played in those states.
Bro, get the gat. Get the gat.
For Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's he's got that, I don't know, he's got something about him. It's hard to not like him. You know what I mean?
Facts.
But, I mean, it's more difficult for you guys. You play in the same division. But Joe Burrow's, he's ridiculous. But defensive rookie of the year, I mean, it's pretty obvious as well, right?
Yeah, that one dude that I said should got defensive player of the year.
That one dude.
That one dude, I mean, that Micah.
Yeah, Micah Parsons is another level. I mean, what, 84 tackles?
I mean, we could get some respect to Najee. Psych! Ain't giving no damn respect to a Steeler player. Get him out of here.
Najee Harris. Nah, I mean, if Jamar Chase didn't have the ridiculous season he had, offensive rookie of the year would be closer. But what was it? 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns?
Too
rookie
many
season?
to count.
Come on, man. What are you talking about?
He made some ridiculous catches, too. Tough catches.
That's a ridiculous season for a pro. For a pro,
that is
season. Never mind a rookie.
Jesus.
What were the numbers he put up against? What was that ridiculous game 2 weeks ago?
He had like 263 yards or something, didn't he?
He had more. I saw
something like
he had more it was against the Chiefs, right? He had more receiving yards in that game than Pat Mahomes did passing yards.
Yeah, he didn't believe it.
You know how crazy that is?
Right.
That stat is next level insane to me.
That's Joe Burr, man. Only he can do it.
I mean, yeah, that's I don't know.
I hate it.
That was it. That's all that I mean that I had down here. Unless you wanted to talk about anything else tonight, Jay.
No, I think we can wrap it up there.
Save the rest for tomorrow.
Yeah, we definitely gonna wrap it up there. Your boy is getting tired too, but Yeah, congratulations on a terrible season, Cleveland Browns. You really, the highlight of this season is y'all following me on TikTok and then not saying nothing to me the rest of the year. That's great. Just know I'm coming for a spot. You know what I'm saying? We gonna be in the booth somewhere. We gonna be on the social medias. We gonna be there.
Well,
So,
for sure.
So thanks for a great season, guys. I'm kidding.
Man.
Man, there's going to be a lot of Browns talk this offseason, and it's not going to stop until after draft day.
It's been one day, and I'm already sick of the talk already, bro. It's been one day into the offseason. I'm
Man.
literally already sick of it.
You guys, I'm going to be honest with you. You guys might be the most talked about franchise this offseason than any other franchise I could think of.
We deserve
just based on
it.
how the season went.
This is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like, I mean, being right before, right as we're closing, my bad, Zay, I want to say this, like, just to piggyback on what you guys are saying about being the most talked about, like, if I'm not mistaken, didn't something shake in your world, Ron? Didn't you guys re-sign somebody? Didn't you guys have something going on with your GM or something? I can't remember exactly the report I seen. Something. I don't know if it was your GM.
Are you talking about the Giants, right?
The Jets, yeah.
No, the Jets didn't have anything happen today.
Yeah,
the Giants.
The Giants.
The Giants GM retired today.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
But they kept their head coach. So.
Oh wow. Oh, that's smart. Never mind. All right.
Yeah. I mean,
New York football.
Listen, for the first time in years, I mean, if we want to close on a New York statement, if you want to, for the first time in a long time, I feel better about where my Jets are than where the Giants are. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, they're in shambles.
What is that?
They are in shambles. All of New York is in fire right now.
Did they really keep their coach?
They ran a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 yesterday from their own 4-yard line, the Giants.
Wow.
They ran a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 from the 4-yard line. That team is in shambles.
They should have never went to get Saquon.
Saquon's gone. That boy is looking for new turf.
Oh, for sure.
Tampa Bay.
For sure.
Send him to Tampa. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, and look, my team is a mess, but I mean, there's trajectory upward. The Giants have no trajectory. They're in a circle.
Right, in a one bubble.
Mm-hmm. So,
well, gentlemen, another great episode, per usual.
As usual.
I appreciate you, Daryl. Appreciate you, Aaron J. Jacobs. Make sure you follow him on all social media platforms. Daryl, what's your plug?
Oh yeah, one half of the We Got the Juice podcast. Go ahead and tap in. We're cooking with the crock right now, though. If you get a little thirsty, we'll provide the juice for you. Don't worry about it. DCT.jr. Follow me. IG.
All right. Make sure you guys hit that Aaron A. Jacobs. Aaron A.
Zay, it's Aaron A. Jacobs, a.k.a. Stephen A. Smith, but I accepted the balding. Come on, man, get it right.
Look, I'm tired. Okay, give me a break.
All right, no, for real. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. Hey, YouTube, I appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all on the next episode. Make sure if you like the video,